Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you guys are catching us. Thanks for tuning in again. So from the thumbnail and the title, right, I think more or less you know that we are going to do Tiprun Eging today. So where's the best place to do Tiprun Eging is Rompin in Malaysia. So we'll be sharing with you all the tips and tricks about Tiprun Eging. If you're really interested, stay tuned and we'll tell you more. Okay, you guys might ask, right, what is actually Tiprun? Tiprun actually allow us to fish in deeper waters, mainly between 30 to 40 meters or even 20 meters, up to 70 or 90 meters of water. So a normal eggie, which weighs about 15 grams, will take a long time to sink down to 30 or 40 grams, 40 meters of water. So that's why Tiprun is designed that it comes with 30 grams, 40 grams, or even up to 70 and 90 grams. Okay, so basically Tiprun and land-based, right, there are two different games. Although you're still catching squid on eggies, right, but the two games is different. One is casting from the shore, one is playing from the boat. So the tackle also will be different. A normal Tiprun rod, right, goes anywhere from 5 feet to 7 feet, mainly because it's also easier for us to maneuver when we are in a boat. So we don't actually require a longer rod. Whereas land-based, right, we go anything more to 8 feet, right, so it gives us casting distance. The action of the rod also a bit different. If you look at the Tiprun, right, it's actually it's much softer. It's not as parabolic as a land-based rod, so it's thinner and softer. Thus this makes it more sensitive for us to feel any squid take compared to a land-based. And this is not designed for casting, so don't try to cast anything with a proper Tiprun rod. Okay, reel wise, anything for spinning 2005 to 3000, that one is same as an egging, land-based egging. Myself, I'm using a BC. Okay, basically BC is easier for me to release line, and I can control, easier for me to control the speed of the line. And line wise, we are going somewhere between 0.4 up to maybe PE1. If you are fishing at more structured places, right, maybe you will want to go for PE1 because once it snacks, it's easier for you to retrieve your eggie. But the advantages of a thinner line, of course, is it sinks your eggie much faster and it's more sensitive. Leader wise, we can stick more to our normal land-based egging leader, so that's all fine. Okay, normal eggie, as we talked about earlier, it goes anywhere from 10 grams to 20 grams depending on the size of it. Tiprun, right, we talk about it, it's 30, 40, I haven't seen 90 grams Tiprun. So color wise, depending on the weather as well, similar to what we do on land base, but something to take note of is if it's a bit overcast and the water is deeper, right, I would normally recommend you to use something like this, that is red base. We know that red base is normally designed for night egging, so it's actually designed more for low light condition. So when it goes deeper, right, a red one will be very effective. A normal one to start off is always a rainbow base, and when they are not really active, right, you can always try something what we call something with a rattle. The rattle. So rattle wise, sometimes it's good, you know, it attracts them, but sometimes if they are at a very more defensive mode, right, they are not so aggressive, they will tend to go for something that is non-rattle. But it's also good to always toggle around the rattle and non-rattle, you know, if they are, to see whether they are active or not active. So basically these are the three main colors. Okay, we are talking about the body color. Like this is red, and the body color is rainbow, and this is actually gold base. So with all this information, we're going to start fishing soon. Oh, sorry. One more thing is, if at any point that you want to use a Eggy, a normal Eggy, right, there's always what we call a nose weight or nose attachment, where you put it on a normal Eggy, and it comes with a rubber band to tie it down, so it doesn't really move. And we've seen that some of the older generation or older ways of playing egging, right, they use a normal eggy, whereas they tie another sinker in the front. Okay, that can work too, but given me the preference, right, I'll rather use a nose weight, because if you are tying to a sinker, and when you are doing your jigging action, you will be moving the sinker more than you'll be imparting action to the eggy. So if you want to add something to a normal eggy, right, I will recommend you to get something like this, a nose weight. So even when you're jigging, right, the action is still imparted to this particular eggy rather than impart to a sinker tie up to the front. So for Tiprun Eging, right, is actually very simple. Basically, you just drop it, the eggy down to the bottom, you know, and let it sink. So when it's sinking, right, you see what I do? I'm using a BC. I'm controlling the line. So once you reach the bottom, that is where you close your bail arm or stop the line rolling and start jerking. So current is quite fast today, so it's going to take a while to sink down to the bottom. So likewise for spinning, right, you can control your line going down. Current is really fast, so I might have to switch to a heavier. So for drag setting, right, of course, not too tight and not too loose. Not tight until, you know, where there's no drag going out. Because if it's too tight, right, we know that the tentacle of the squid is quite delicate. If it's too hard, you set it right, you might even tear the tentacles. Worst case is if you you snap your squid jig, and when you leave, right, you might even break your rod. So of course it's not loose until every jig you do, the line is coming out. That way, right, you're not imparting action to the squid jig. So a best way to gauge how to set your drag, right, is when you're doing every single jig, right, there's line coming out, but not when you're doing and lines are running all over the place.
Straight on.
I think I got a squid. Yes, that's a squid. Squid on. Oh, not bad. Quite a sizable one. Nice one, we got squid. Squid on. Okay, to land the squid, right? Of course, we try to get it from the back of the squid. Don't go from the front and don't face yourself. Don't face the squid. Move it a bit. Then after you land the squid, you can open the bill arm. Gently lift it up. Pour out the water. Okay, so even if it's squirt, right, there will not be anything. It's a bit windy today, and the boat is actually rocking. So after you reach the bottom, close your bill arm, give it a few jerks. 3 to 5 jerks, 7 to 10 jerks also okay. After that, you leave it at the bottom for 10 seconds. Best way is to keep your line and your rod at a 90 degrees. Slight bend on the rod tip, so that when there's any little tick, right, you can actually feel it. You see how I'm holding my rod at a very light way. So as the boat is rocking, right, I'm also moving my hand to keep the squid jig level. Hit the bottom, I close my bill arm. Look how I lift my rod tip at an angle. So in Tiprun, there is two ways. Because of leaving the tension line there, right, if the squid were to take on the jig, it will release tension from my rod tip as well. So, oh, I can feel a tap. The most important thing is line tension. Because line tension is the one that will transmit every single little action, like, to your rod and to your bite. So if they tap, they don't take, right? Leave it there again. Other squid might take it. If they don't take, then release some more. Why am I releasing? Because just now when I do my jerking, right, it actually came out from the seabed. So I'm releasing it back to the seabed. Okay, I can feel my line slowing down. Okay, it touches the bottom. Why do we pay attention to the line speed? A lot of beginners, they don't know that when the squid jig actually touch the ground, right, or the seabed, right, your line will still be going out. That is because of the current that's pushing the line out. So a lot of them didn't know that their squid jig actually touch the bottom, and they carry on leaving their line out, and that will, you know, in the event, right, of that, right, your squid jig will get snapped. Just have a tap there again. Releasing more line. I'm tracking it all the way to the back. Okay, bottom, jig. Tension, keep the line tension. Sometimes fish might come and take, sometimes you know, it's a squid, or it might be even a fish that takes. So in any point of time, right, you feel any taps or what, just do a set. You don't want to miss any of it. Okay, you can see now the rod tip is moving. I'm going to set and go to the squid. Not very big. Alright, we've come to the end of the video. Hope you guys like this tutorial, and this is what we got for the day. We were good more because the tide was going down and we had to come back, and it's a pretty short day for us, but nonetheless we all have fun. So hope you guys like it. Share with me if you have any questions and DM me. Catch you again.